A 2-month trial with 34 witnesses and hours of salacious testimony. A jury of 8 men and 4 women finds Sean Diddy Combs not guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking, but guilty on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. The judge is currently deciding right now whether Combs will actually be released today. His defense arguing that since the music mogul was acquitted of the most serious crimes, he should be able to go home.
You know how sometimes a courtroom verdict drops and the internet practically melts down? Well, this was one of those moments. The kind where your group chats are blowing up, your mom's texting you, "Did you hear about Diddy?" and your favorite podcast drops a 2-hour emergency episode before you can even finish your morning coffee. Because after nearly 2 months of jaw-dropping testimony, shocking witness accounts, and legal twists worthy of a primetime drama, a jury finally came to a conclusion in one of the most high-profile trials in recent celebrity history. Please don't forget to subscribe and like this video. It is free and help us bring you enjoyable content. And of course, watch till the end. The headline? Sean Diddy Combs was found not guilty of racketeering and sex trafficking. But the story doesn't stop there, not even close. Because while Diddy dodged the most serious accusations, the jury did convict him on 2 counts of transporting individuals to engage in prostitution. And now, the judge is deciding right this minute whether the music mogul gets to go home today or spends more time behind bars. You ready to unpack what this really means? Because the truth behind this verdict is more layered, more complicated, and yes, more explosive than you probably think. Buckle up. Remember how it all started? This wasn't just a celebrity being accused of shady stuff. This was a full-blown federal case. Wiretaps. Raids. Former employees spilling secrets like it was Survivor, Music Industry Edition. Over 34 witnesses took the stand. Some were tearful. Some were bitter. Some were disturbingly graphic. And at times, the court...
Joining me now, Irina Roy, just outside court, legal contributor Bernardo Villalona, and also senior entertainment reporter Kelly Carter. All right, Rena, do we have any update on whether the judge will decide to release Combs at this hour?
Kira, no decision quite yet from the judge. Just a couple of minutes ago, though, I can tell you we saw the Combs family van pull up to court once again, presumably to hear this decision on whether or not Combs will be released. The deadline that the judge gave both the prosecution and the defense just passed a couple of minutes ago. They were set to turn in their letters at 1 p.m. So for the last couple of hours, they've been working on their cases, both sides, for and against his release. The defense wants to see Combs walk out of those golden doors here behind us.
Felt less like a courtroom and more like the back pages of a tabloid merged with a true crime docuseries. There were allegations dating back years, including a 2016 altercation at the Intercontinental Hotel involving Diddy and Cassie Ventura. There was surveillance footage, hours of interrogations, and cross-examinations that could make your skin crawl. But here's the thing. Testimony isn't always truth, and emotion doesn't always equal evidence. Still, how did a case with so much noise end up in a verdict with so much nuance? Let's get one thing clear. Being acquitted isn't the same thing as being declared innocent. The jury simply didn't believe the prosecution proved racketeering and sex trafficking beyond a reasonable doubt. That doesn't mean there weren't dark and disturbing claims made in that courtroom. It means the bar to legally convict someone of organized criminal behavior and sex trafficking is incredibly high, and in this case, the jury didn't think it was met. But what about the 2 convictions? That's where things get real. The jury believed there was enough solid evidence to convict Diddy on 2 federal counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. In simple terms, they believed he facilitated travel that was directly tied to sex work. That's still a serious felony. And it's why, right now, his legal team is fighting to get him released before sentencing, and prosecutors are pushing hard to keep him locked up. You'd think after weeks of testimony, the final verdict would bring some closure, right? Not quite. Here's where things get tense. The judge has not yet ruled on whether Diddy will be released pending sentencing. His team argues that since he beat the most severe charges, he should go home. Prosecutors? They're having none of it. They claim he's a flight risk, and let's be real, With Diddy's resources, they're not wrong and want him to remain in custody. The judge gave both sides a hard deadline to submit their final arguments. Letters were due by 1 p.m. And now the decision hangs in the air. So what's next? Well, if he stays in jail, he'll wait months for his sentencing. And even though each count carries up to 10 years, legal experts say it's unlikely he'll receive the maximum. Could be time served. Could be probation. Could be a few more years. The real drama? It's just getting started. Okay, let's talk legacy. Because this trial didn't just expose Diddy's personal behavior, it redefined his public persona. We're talking about a man who spent 3 decades building an empire across music, fashion, film, spirits, and even politics. From Bad Boy Records to Sean John, Diddy wasn't just a mogul, he was a movement. But now, every documentary, every retrospective, every public conversation about his career will come with an asterisk. Because no matter the legal outcome, the public testimony can't be unheard. And let's be honest, even if you didn't follow the trial minute by minute, you probably felt the shift. The tension, the questions, the memes, the clips, the debates. This trial became the cultural conversation, and that's not going away anytime soon. If you watched the footage from outside the courthouse, you probably saw the cheers, the hugs, the "We love y'all" shouted by Diddy's son, Christian. For the Combs family, this wasn't just a legal victory, it was survival. Because whether you believe in Diddy's innocence or not, there's no denying this trial was a public crucifixion. The emotional toll? Massive. The reputational hit? Devastating. But to them, walking out of that courtroom with "not guilty" stamped next to the biggest charges was everything. But don't get it twisted. Celebrations aside, they know this fight isn't over. Not until sentencing. Not until the world decides how to remember this. So what happens now? Here's what this trial forced us all to confront. What happens when money, power, and celebrity crash headfirst into justice? We saw the power imbalance play out in real time. How long it took for certain allegations to even come to light. How hard it is to hold influential people accountable. How public opinion can flip with a single headline. And we were reminded that even icons, especially icons, aren't immune from consequences. This trial became more than just a case. It became a mirror. One that reflected some pretty uncomfortable truths about our culture, our legal system, and the price we pay to keep fame on a pedestal. Hollywood, hip-hop, corporate America. They were all watching. This wasn't just about Diddy, it was a warning shot. A signal that nobody is untouchable anymore. And it's made a lot of people nervous. Because if a mogul like Diddy can be dragged through the mud, then who's next? Labels are rethinking contracts. Brands are rechecking endorsements. Artists are rewriting the rulebook on who they stand by and when. This trial changed the energy. And everyone knows it. Twitter, OK, X, TikTok, Reddit, every platform exploded the moment that verdict dropped. Some said justice was served. Others screamed miscarriage. Some reposted clips of Diddy dancing in 2001. Others dissected courtroom footage frame by frame. Memes. Think pieces. Rage. Relief. It was messy. It was passionate. It was now. But if one thing was clear, no one's neutral on Diddy anymore. So here's where we're at. The judge's decision on his release? Still pending. Sentencing? Months away. The court of public opinion? Loud, chaotic, divided. If Diddy walks free today, expect paparazzi swarms and Instagram lives. If he stays in, expect appeals and press statements. Whatever happens, this story isn't just about a verdict, it's about how we got here. And where we go next. Because even though the trial is over, the reckoning has only just begun. Let's not pretend this is black and white. This is complicated, messy, emotional. Some people will celebrate Diddy's acquittal. Others will mourn what they see as a missed opportunity for accountability. But regardless of where you land, one thing is clear. This trial was a cultural reset. And now we're all left trying to make sense of what it means. For justice, for celebrity, and for the future of truth in an age of spectacle. Drop your thoughts. Share this with someone who needs the full story, not just the headline. Let's talk. Is Diddy's legacy over? Or is this the beginning of a new chapter? You decide.